She said it was a business trip. Then my phone buzzed with a message I'll never forget. No greeting. No explanation. Just this, your wife. Room 1108. Don't say I didn't warn you. Attached was a photo. But before I begin, please like and subscribe to the channel. And we'd love to hear which part of the world are you joining us from. Let us know. Now, let's dive into today's story. Travis Harlan stood at the kitchen counter, his hands wrapped around a coffee mug that had gone cold an hour ago. The ceramic felt rough against his palms. Outside, the Missouri sun was setting early, painting the suburban street in shades of amber and rust. Through the window, he could see his neighbor washing a minivan in the driveway. Normal people doing normal things on a normal evening in Blue Springs. He set the mug down when he heard Melanie's footsteps on the stairs. He knew the sound of her walk. 13 years of marriage taught you things like that. The rhythm was different tonight. Faster. Purposeful. She was already upset about something before she even entered the room. She came into the kitchen holding her phone out in front of her like evidence at a trial. Her hair was pulled back tight, the way she wore it when she meant business. Her jaw was set. Travis recognized that look. It meant she had already made up her mind about something and was about to tell him what it was. Look at this, she said. Travis glanced at the screen. A necklace. Thin gold chain. Small diamond pendant catching light in the product photo. It was delicate. Simple. The kind of thing Melanie would wear to client meetings when she wanted to look professional but feminine. What am I looking at, he asked, though he already knew where this was going. It's not even that expensive, Melanie said. She tapped the screen with her finger. $2,000. That's all. Travis felt something tighten in his chest. $2,000. That was groceries for 3 months. That was the payment he had just made to the HVAC company for the repair they couldn't avoid when the unit died in July. That was overtime shifts at the warehouse, loading pallets until his back ached and his hands were raw. Mel, we're still paying off the HVAC repair, he said. His voice came out level. Calm. He had learned a long time ago that raising his voice never helped anything. Her eyes flashed. You always have an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's called a budget. She laughed. It was not a happy sound. A budget, right? We're 40 years old, and we still can't afford a $2,000 necklace. What are we saving for, Travis? What's the point of working all these extra shifts if we can't ever have anything nice? He wanted to tell her. The words were right there in his throat. He had been saving for months, picking up every overtime shift the warehouse offered, skipping lunches, putting away $50 here, $100 there, hiding it in an account she didn't check. He had found that exact necklace online 6 weeks ago, had already spoken to the jeweler about putting it on hold. Her birthday was in 3 weeks. He wanted to see her face when he gave it to her, wanted to surprise her the way he used to when they were younger, and everything felt easier. But he didn't say any of that, because if he told her now, it would ruin the surprise. And because somewhere in the back of his mind, a small voice wondered if she even deserved it anymore. I've been picking up extra shifts, he said instead. For what? Her voice was rising now. So we can barely breathe every month? So we can live in this house that needs a new roof and drive cars that are 10 years old? I see the women I work with, Travis. They were nice things. They go on vacations. Their husbands take them to restaurants that don't have plastic menus. That hurt. It landed somewhere deep in his ribs and stayed there. Travis had grown up with nothing. His father had disappeared when he was 8. His mother had worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. He remembered eating cereal for dinner, remembered wearing shoes with holes in them, remembered the shame of it. When he married Melanie, he had promised himself that his family would never go without. They would have a house, cars that ran, food on the table, security. But security was boring. Security didn't sparkle like gold. I'm doing my best, he said quietly. Well, maybe your best isn't good enough. The words hung in the air between them like smoke. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Melanie's face shifted. She realized what she had said. Her expression softened just slightly at the edges. Travis, I didn't mean... Yeah, you did. He turned and walked out of the kitchen. Behind him, he heard her slam her phone down on the counter, heard her footsteps storm across the living room, heard the bedroom door slam hard enough to rattle the frame. Travis stood in the hallway for a long time, listening to the silence of his house. Then he went down to the basement, sat on the old couch they kept down there, and stared at the concrete wall until the anger in his chest turned into something colder. 2 weeks passed. They spoke to each other in short sentences. Practical things. Who would pick up groceries? What time dinner was? Whether he needed gas in the truck. The kind of words people use when they're living in the same house, but not really living together. Travis kept going to work, loading freight, signing off on shipments, dealing with guys on his crew who showed up late or called in sick. The warehouse was loud and hot and smelled like cardboard and diesel. But at least it was honest. You put in the work, you got paid. Nobody pretended to be something they weren't. On a Thursday afternoon, Melanie came home with a suitcase. "I have a leadership retreat," she said. She was moving through the bedroom fast, pulling clothes from drawers and hanging things from the closet. 3 days. Corporate thing at the hotel near the airport. Travis was sitting on the edge of the bed, unlacing his work boots. His feet hurt. Everything hurt. Which hotel? The airport plaza. Conference rooms. Boring presentations. You know how it is. He nodded. He didn't know how it was. He had never been to a corporate retreat. He supervised a warehouse crew. His meetings happened in a break room that smelled like burnt coffee and old sandwiches. "When do you leave?" "Tomorrow morning." "Early." She zipped the suitcase closed. Didn't look at him. "I'll be back Sunday night." "Okay." She paused at the door. For a second, he thought she might say something. Apologize for the fight. Tell him she loved him. Something. "Call me when you get there," he said. "I will." But she didn't kiss him goodbye. Didn't touch him at all. Just walked out of the bedroom with her suitcase rolling behind her. Travis sat there in his work clothes, listening to the sound of her car starting in the driveway, listening to it pull away, listening to the silence that filled up the house like water. That night, he grilled burgers in the backyard. Just one. He ate it standing up at the patio table, watching fireflies blink in the trees at the edge of the yard. The neighbors were having a barbecue 2 houses down. He could hear voices and music, laughter, the sound of people who were happy. He cleaned the grill, went inside, watched a ball game on television without really seeing it. The hours moved slow. At 9:15, he thought about texting Melanie, just checking in, making sure she got there safe. Then his phone buzzed. Unknown number. Travis stared at the screen. He didn't usually open texts from numbers he didn't recognize. Spam. Scams. Wrong numbers. But something made him open this one. No message. No greeting. Just a photo. His brain took a second to process what he was seeing. Melanie. On a hotel bed. Wearing the necklace. Wearing nothing else. The phone nearly slipped from his hand. His vision tunneled. The edges of the room went dark, and all he could see was the screen. That image. His wife. Naked. Smiling at someone who wasn't him. And around her neck, that thin gold chain. That diamond pendant catching the light. His chest felt like someone had reached inside and grabbed his heart with a cold fist. He zoomed in on the photo. His hands were shaking, but he made them steady. He looked at every detail like he was examining evidence. Because that's what this was. Evidence. Room number visible on the door in the reflection of the mirror. 1108. Airport Plaza Hotel. The same hotel where she said the retreat was happening. No conference materials on the dresser. No laptop. No badge. A man's jacket draped over the chair. Dark blue. Expensive looking. A bottle of wine on the nightstand. 2 glasses. Travis set the phone down on the coffee table. He stood up. Sat back down. Stood up again. He felt like his body didn't know what to do with what his brain was telling it. He should call her. Demand an explanation. Yell. Break something. But he didn't do any of those things. Instead, he picked up his truck keys and walked out the door. The drive to the airport plaza took 23 minutes. Travis knew because he watched every minute tick by on the dashboard clock. The highway was nearly empty. Just semis and late-night travelers. His hands were locked on the steering wheel. His jaw was clenched so tight his teeth ached. He kept seeing that photo. Kept seeing her face. That smile. She looked happy. Really happy. The way she used to look at him when they first started dating. When he would pick her up from her apartment and take her to dinner at places he couldn't afford. When everything was new and exciting and full of possibility. When did she stop looking at him like that? The hotel came into view. 11 stories of concrete and glass. Bright lights. A parking lot half full of rental cars and vehicles with out-of-state plates. Travis pulled into a space near the entrance. Turned off the engine. Sat there. He could leave. Drive home. Pretend he never saw that photo. Go on with his life like nothing had changed. But everything had already changed. The moment he opened that text, his marriage had ended. He just hadn't accepted it yet. He got out of the truck. The lobby was quiet. A few people in business clothes sitting in armchairs, typing on laptops. A desk clerk who looked bored. Elevator doors opening and closing. The carpet was patterned in swirls of blue and gray. The air conditioning was too cold. Nobody stopped him. Nobody asked where he was going. He walked to the elevators like he belonged there. Pressed the button for the 11th floor. The elevator rose slowly. Soft music played from hidden speakers. Travis watched the numbers climb. 5, 6, 7. His reflection stared back at him from the polished metal doors. He looked tired, older than 41. His work shirt was wrinkled. There was a grease stain on his jeans from the truck. The doors opened on 11. The hallway stretched out in both directions. Identical doors. Identical lights. The carpet muffled his footsteps. He could hear television playing in one of the rooms. Voices laughing. Room 1108 was at the end of the hall. Travis stood outside the door. His heart was pounding so hard he could feel it in his throat. He raised his hand to knock. Stopped. Raised it again. He knocked 3 times. Firm. Steady. Footsteps inside. A pause. Then the door opened. Derek Calloway stood there in dress pants and an undershirt. No shoes. His hair was messed up. His face was flushed. When he saw Travis, something flickered in his eyes. Recognition. Then calculation. He didn't open the door all the way. Just stood there blocking the entrance. Yes, Derek said. His voice was smooth. Controlled. Like he was answering a business call. Travis didn't say anything. He looked past Derek into the room. Melanie was standing near the bed. She had pulled on a hotel robe. White terry cloth. The belt tied loose around her waist. Her hair was down, and around her neck, the necklace glinted in the light from the bedside lamp. Her face went white. All the blood just drained right out of it. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Travis, she finally said. Just his name. Like she couldn't think of anything else to say. Travis looked at her. Really looked at her. This woman he had loved for 13 years. This woman he had worked overtime for. This woman he had wanted to surprise with a gift she would love. She stood there in another man's hotel room, wearing jewelry he couldn't afford, and all he felt was cold. So, this is the retreat, he said. His voice came out flat. Empty. Like all the emotion had been burned out of it. Derek tried to step forward. He put on a smile. The kind of smile he probably used in meetings. Confident. Reassuring. Let's calm down here. We can talk about this like adults. Travis stepped back. Away from the door. Away from both of them. No need, he said. She can come home and pack. He turned and walked back down the hallway. Behind him, he heard Melanie say his name again. Heard the panic in her voice. Heard Derek trying to close the door. But Travis kept walking. Into the elevator. Down to the lobby. Out to his truck. He sat in the driver's seat for a long time before he started the engine. His hands were steady now. His breathing was calm. Everything inside him had gone very quiet and very still. He drove home in silence. No radio. No music. Just the sound of the road and his own thoughts. When he got home, he sat at the kitchen table and looked at his phone. The photo was still there. Evidence. Proof. Truth. He forwarded it to his email. Then to a cloud storage account. Then he deleted it from his messages. But he would never be able to delete it from his memory. Travis didn't sleep that night. He sat in the living room as the sky slowly turned from black to gray to pale blue. He watched the sun rise through the window. Watched his neighbors leave for work. Watched the garbage truck make its way down the street. At 8 in the morning, he made a phone call. Yeah, I need to change the locks on my house, he said. Today, if possible. The locksmith said he could be there by noon. Travis spent the morning packing. He went through the bedroom like he was inventory at the warehouse. Efficient. Methodical. Clothes from the closet went in his suitcases. Shoes went into boxes. Makeup and jewelry and all the little things that belonged to Melanie went into bags. He didn't rush. He didn't throw things. He just packed everything carefully and carried it all down to the driveway. By the time the locksmith arrived, there were 3 suitcases, 2 boxes, and 4 bags sitting on the concrete. The neighbors were definitely watching now. Travis could see curtains moving, could feel eyes on him. Let them watch. Let them talk. He didn't care. The locksmith was a guy in his 50s with a tool belt and a knowing look. He didn't ask questions. Just changed the locks and handed Travis 3 new keys. "You want the old locks?" he asked. "No," Travis said. "Throw them away." Melanie's car pulled into the driveway at 2 in the afternoon. Travis was sitting on the front steps, waiting. She got out of the car fast. Her face was blotchy. She had been crying. Her clothes were the same ones from yesterday, wrinkled now. She looked at the suitcases, at the boxes, at Travis. Her expression went from confusion to shock to anger in about 3 seconds. "What is this?" she said. "Your things. You can't do this." She walked toward the door. "This is my house, too." Travis stood up, stepped in front of the door. He didn't touch her, didn't yell, just blocked her path. "You lied," he said. "You cheated. You're not coming back inside." "Travis, listen to me." Her voice was shaking. "It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. We need to talk about this. We need to work through this." He almost laughed. "Work through it? You were in a hotel room with your boss, wearing a necklace he bought you. What part of that needs discussion?" She blinked. Her mouth opened, closed. "How did you? You wore the necklace," he said. "The one you wanted me to buy. The one I couldn't afford. He bought it, didn't he?" She didn't answer, just looked at him with tears running down her face. That silence told him everything he needed to know. "I want you to leave now," Travis said. "Take your things and go. This is my home." "No, it was our home. Now it's mine. You made your choice. You're overreacting." Her voice was getting louder, desperate. "People make mistakes. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can." "I don't want to fix it," Travis said. The words came out sharp and clean. Final. "I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want apologies. I want you to take your things and get out of my driveway." Melanie stared at him. Something in her eyes changed. The tears stopped. Her face hardened. "You're going to regret this." "No," he said. "I'm not." He walked past her, got in his truck, started the engine, and he sat there, waiting until she finally loaded everything in her car and drove away. Travis sat across from Glenn Bixler in an office that smelled like old books and coffee. The lawyer was in his 60s, with gray hair and reading glasses that kept sliding down his nose. He had a reputation for being fair but ruthless. People called him when they wanted results, not sympathy. "Tell me what happened," Glenn said. He had a legal pad in front of him, a pen in his hand, ready to take notes. Travis told him. All of it. The fight about the necklace, the business trip, the photo, the hotel room. He kept his voice level, factual, like he was giving a report at work. Glenn listened without interrupting. When Travis finished, he set his pen down and leaned back in his chair. "Do you still have a photo?" "Yes, and I forwarded it to my email. Cloud storage too." "Good. Phone records? I can get them." "Do that. Also get credit card statements. Anything that shows hotel stays, restaurants, gifts. Anything unusual." Glenn tapped his fingers on the desk. "Missouri is a no-fault divorce state. That means we don't need to prove wrongdoing to get you divorced. But adultery still matters when it comes to settlements, especially if marital funds were used." "They were," Travis said. "She was using her credit card." "Even better. How long have you been married?" 13 years. "Kids?" "No." Glenn nodded. Made a note. "That simplifies things. What assets do you have?" "The house. 2 cars. Some savings. Her retirement account. Mine." Travis paused. "I want to keep the house. We'll try. But understand that she's entitled to half of everything acquired during the marriage. The question is whether we can argue that her conduct should affect the division." "Can we?" "Maybe. Depends on the judge. But if she used marital funds to support an affair, we have a case." Glenn looked at Travis over his reading glasses. "I need to ask you something. Are you sure you want to do this? Once we file, there's no going back. Marriage counseling is always an option." "I'm sure." No hesitation. None. Glenn studied him for a moment, then nodded. "All right, I'll draft the papers. In the meantime, document everything. Every text, Every call, every expense. Don't speak to her unless absolutely necessary. And when you do, keep it brief and factual. Don't lose your temper. Don't make threats. Don't do anything that could be used against you. Travis stood up, shook Glenn's hand. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Glenn said. This is going to get ugly. He was right. Melanie filed first. Travis got the papers 3 days later. She was demanding half of everything. The house, his retirement account, alimony. Her lawyer was painting a picture of a controlling husband who had emotionally neglected his wife for years, who had refused to provide for her, who had forced her into the arms of another man because he was cold and distant. Travis read through the filing in his truck during lunch break at the warehouse. Every word felt like a knife. Every accusation was a lie dressed up as truth. She was rewriting their entire marriage, making herself the victim, making him the villain. His phone buzzed. A text from a number he recognized. One of Melanie's friends. How could you do this to her? You should be ashamed. Then another text. Another friend. She deserves better than you. Then another. You're a heartless bastard. Travis deleted the messages, blocked the numbers. He had learned something important in the last week. People would believe whatever story sounded better, whatever story made them feel righteous. The truth didn't matter as much as the narrative. Melanie was good at narratives. She posted on social media vague quotes about strength and perseverance, pictures of sunsets with captions about new beginnings, stories about finding yourself after emotional abuse. She never mentioned his name, never said what happened, but everyone knew. Everyone could read between the lines. Within a week, half of their mutual friends had taken her side. People Travis had known for years. People he had helped move furniture. People whose kids he had given gifts to at birthdays. They all looked at him differently now, like he was someone to be careful around, someone who might explode. He didn't defend himself, didn't explain, didn't post his own side of the story. He just kept going to work, kept paying the bills, kept meeting with Glenn and gathering evidence. Let her talk, Glenn said when Travis mentioned the social media posts. Let her tell everyone how terrible you are. It doesn't matter what they think. It matters what the judge thinks. The deposition was scheduled for a Tuesday morning in October. Travis took the day off work, put on the only suit he owned, drove downtown to a conference room in a building full of lawyers. Melanie was already there when he arrived. She was wearing a black dress. Professional. Conservative. Her hair was pulled back. No jewelry except small earrings. She looked like someone playing the part of a wronged wife. When she saw Travis, her expression didn't change. Just looked right through him like he was glass. Her lawyer was a woman named Patricia Vance. Sharp features. Expensive suit. The kind of lawyer who made $75,000 a year look like pocket change. She smiled at Travis like a shark smiles at a seal. The deposition lasted 3 hours. Patricia asked Travis about his job, his income, his spending habits, whether he drank, whether he had ever been violent, whether he had affairs of his own. She tried to paint him as controlling, as financially abusive, as someone who kept his wife trapped in a life she didn't want. Travis answered every question calmly. Honestly, he didn't get defensive, didn't lose his temper, just told the truth. Did you ever deny your wife money for necessities? Patricia asked. No. Did you ever tell her she couldn't work? No. Did you ever prevent her from seeing friends or family? No. Did you ever raise your voice to her? Travis paused, thought about it. Probably. Over 13 years, I'm sure I raised my voice at some point. But I never screamed at her, never called her names, never threatened her. What about the day you changed the locks? That seems aggressive. She had been unfaithful. I didn't want her in my house anymore. Your house. It's marital property. Our house, then. I paid the mortgage. I paid the utilities. I paid for the repairs. She was welcome to file for divorce and make her claim. But she wasn't welcome to live there anymore. Patricia smiled. You sound angry, Mr. Harlan. I'm hurt. There's a difference. When it was Glenn's turn, he didn't waste time. He pulled out the photo, put it on the table in front of Melanie and Patricia. The image was printed on glossy paper, 8 by 10, impossible to ignore. Melanie's face went red. She looked away. Can you explain this photograph? Glenn asked. Patricia put her hand on Melanie's arm. Don't answer that. It's a simple question, Glenn said. Is that you in the photograph? Silence. Is that a necklace you're wearing? More silence. Did your husband buy you that necklace? Melanie's voice came out quiet, strained. No. Who did? I'm instructing my client not to answer, Patricia said. Glenn smiled. It was not a friendly smile. That's fine. We'll let the judge decide. He pulled out another document. Credit card statements. Highlighted charges. Hotels. Restaurants. These are all charges made during the time your client claimed to be on business trips. Can you explain why marital funds were used for hotel rooms when your client's company should have covered those expenses? Patricia looked at the statements. Her expression didn't change, but Travis could see something shift behind her eyes. This was bad for them. Very bad. We'll need time to review these documents, she said. Take all the time you need, Glenn said. We have copies. The deposition ended 20 minutes later. Melanie left without looking at Travis. Patricia gathered her papers quickly. Professional. But Travis could see the concern in the way she moved. That went well, Glenn said when they were alone. How can you tell? Because they're worried now. They thought they could bully you into a settlement. Thought you'd give up half of everything just to avoid a fight. But you have evidence. Real evidence. And that changes the game. What happens now? Now we wait. They'll probably try to settle out of court. Offer you something reasonable to make this go away quietly. If they don't, we go to trial. Either way, you're in a strong position. Travis nodded. He didn't feel strong. He felt tired, like he had been carrying something heavy for a long time and his arms were about to give out. But he wasn't going to quit. Not now. A week later, something changed. Travis was at home, eating dinner alone in front of the television, when his phone started buzzing. Text after text. Notifications piling up. He opened his phone. People were messaging him. People he hadn't heard from in years. Old friend from high school. Co-workers from previous jobs. Even some of Melanie's friends who had blocked him. Did you see it? Check Facebook. Oh my God. Travis opened Facebook. Went to a local community group. And there it was. The photo. The same one he had received weeks ago. Posted publicly. Along with another photo. This one showed Melanie and Derek kissing in the hotel lobby. His hand on her back. Her hand on his chest. The timestamp on the image was from the same night. The post had been up for 3 hours. Already had 200 comments. People sharing it. People tagging others. People who knew Melanie. People who knew Derek. The whole thing was spreading through their social circle like a wildfire. Travis stared at the screen. He hadn't posted it. He had kept that photo private. Given only to his lawyer. So who had put it online? Then he saw the account name. It was a fake profile. No picture. Random string of letters and numbers for a name. Created just to post this. His phone rang. Glenn, have you seen Facebook? The lawyer asked. Yeah, I just did. Did you post that? No. I swear. Good. Don't comment on it. Don't share it. Don't react to it at all. This could actually help us, but only if you stay completely out of it. Understand. I understand. Travis hung up. He scrolled through the comments. People were angry. Some were supporting Melanie, saying the photo was fake or taken out of context. But most were on his side now. People who had believed her story about being emotionally abused were suddenly questioning everything. People who had called Travis heartless were apologizing. The truth was out there now. Not his version. Not her version. Just the truth. His phone rang again. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. Hello. It's Rico. Travis went very still. Rico Mendez. Melanie's ex-boyfriend from before they got married. He had heard the name over the years. Melanie had mentioned him once or twice. Some guy she dated in her 20s. Nothing serious. Or so she said. Why are you calling me? Travis asked. I work maintenance at the Airport Plaza Hotel. Rico's voice was rough. Bitter. Saw your wife check in about a month ago. With her boss. Saw them in the lobby. In the hallway. In the parking lot. I've seen a lot of things working at that hotel. But when I recognized her, it pissed me off. So you took the photos. Security feed. I have access. Figured you should know what she was up to. He paused. And I figured the world should know too. You posted it on Facebook. Yeah. She dumped me years ago. Said I wasn't good enough for her. Said she wanted someone with ambition. Someone who could give her a better life. Guess she found him. Travis didn't know what to say. This man had been carrying a grudge for years, waiting for a chance to get even. And Travis's life had been the collateral damage. "You could have just sent me the photos," Travis said. "Where's the fun in that? Besides, she embarrassed you. She deserves to be embarrassed back. This is going to hurt people. Derek has a wife. Kids. Yeah, well, maybe he should have thought about that before he slept with someone else's wife." Rico hung up. Travis sat there holding his phone. Part of him felt guilty. This wasn't how he wanted things to happen. He didn't want public humiliation. He just wanted out of the marriage. Wanted to move on with his life. But another part of him felt something darker. Something that said Melanie had made her choices. She had lied. She had cheated. She had tried to destroy his reputation. And now the truth was out. Maybe she did deserve this. He closed Facebook, turned off his phone, tried to sleep, but he kept seeing that image. Melanie and Derek in the lobby, her hand on his chest, smiling up at him like he was everything she ever wanted. The man Travis could never be. Derek Calloway's life unraveled faster than Travis expected. It started with a phone call from Derek's wife. Travis's number had been included in the Facebook post. She called him at 6 in the morning, 2 days after the photos went viral. "Is this Travis Harlan?" Her voice was shaking, angry and broken at the same time. "Yes. Did you know? Not until a few weeks ago." She was crying now. Travis could hear kids in the background. Young voices asking for breakfast, asking where Daddy was. "He told me it was nothing. Told me the photos were fake. But I found receipts, hotel bills, gifts. He bought her that necklace. Do you know how much that necklace cost?" $2,000, Travis said quietly. "That was supposed to be for our kitchen renovation. We've been saving for 2 years. And he spent it on her." She was sobbing now. How could he do this? How could she? Travis didn't have an answer for that. He let her cry, let her rage, let her pour out all the pain and betrayal into the phone. When she finally stopped, when the silence stretched out too long, he spoke. "I'm sorry this happened to you." "Me too," she whispered. Then she hung up. 3 days later, Travis heard through the warehouse grapevine that Derek had been fired. The company had opened an ethics investigation. Corporate policy was strict about relationships between managers and employees, especially undisclosed ones, especially ones that involved company resources. Hotel rooms booked on expense accounts, dinners charged to corporate cards, travel that was supposed to be business but was actually something else. Derek had violated policy after policy. And once the investigation started, other things came to light. Other employees who felt uncomfortable around him. Other inappropriate comments. A pattern of behavior that the company couldn't ignore. He was gone within a week. No severance. No recommendation. No exit interview. Just a box of personal items from his office and an escort to the parking lot. Travis heard all of this from a guy at the warehouse whose wife worked in HR at the same company. The story spread. People talked. In a business community like Kansas City, word traveled fast. Derek's name became poison. Other companies didn't want the scandal. Didn't want to be associated with the guy from the photos. The guy who had destroyed 2 marriages and lost his job over an affair. Travis found himself feeling almost sorry for Derek. Almost. Then he remembered the way Derek had opened that hotel room door. That smooth voice. That calculating look. "Let's calm down here." Like Travis was being unreasonable. Like he was overreacting to finding his wife naked in another man's room. No. Derek had made his choices. Now he was living with them. Melanie lost her job a week after Derek. Different company. Different HR department. But the same policy. The same violation. And when the photos went public, when clients started asking questions, when other employees started complaining, the company had no choice. They called it misconduct. Said she had violated the code of conduct. Said she had engaged in behavior that reflected poorly on the organization. Said she was being terminated effective immediately. No severance package. No recommendation letter. No opportunity to resign gracefully. Just a phone call and an email with instructions to return her laptop and keycard. Travis heard about it from Glenn. The lawyer had connections everywhere. He called Travis at work with the update. "Her lawyer just informed me that Melanie lost her job," Glenn said. "This changes the alimony situation significantly. She was making $60,000 a year. Now she's making nothing. So what does that mean?" It means she's going to have a hard time arguing that you should pay her alimony when she's the one who destroyed her own career. It also means she's desperate. Expect a settlement offer soon. Glenn was right. 2 days later, Patricia Vance called with a proposal. Melanie would give up her claim to alimony. She would take her own retirement account and her car. She would ask for $20,000 in cash to help her get back on her feet. In exchange, Travis would keep the house and his retirement account. What do you think? Glenn asked after he relayed the offer. Travis thought about it. $20,000 was a lot of money, but it was also less than half of what she would have gotten if they had gone to trial and split everything 50-50. Counter with $10,000, Travis said. You sure? We could probably get away with nothing. I'm sure. I'm not trying to destroy her. I just want this over. Glenn made the call. Patricia agreed. The settlement was finalized a week later. Travis signed the papers in Glenn's office. He didn't feel relieved, didn't feel victorious, just felt empty, like something had been hollowed out of him and nothing had filled the space. It's done, Glenn said. You're divorced. Travis nodded, shook the lawyer's hand, drove home to a house that felt too big and too quiet. That night, his phone rang. He didn't recognize the number, but he answered anyway. Travis. Melanie's voice. Rough, like she had been crying for days. Maybe she had. What do you want? I just wanted to talk. To explain. There's nothing to explain. It's done. Please. Just listen. She was crying now. He could hear it in her voice. I never meant for this to happen. I never meant to hurt you. But you did. I know. I know I did. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She took a shaky breath. I was just so unhappy. So tired of struggling. So tired of watching everyone else have the things I wanted. Derek made me feel special. Made me feel like I mattered. Like I was worth something. You were worth something, Travis said. His voice was quiet. Hard. To me. You were everything to me. Silence. I made a mistake, she whispered. You made a choice. Can't you forgive me? Can't we try again? Travis closed his eyes. Saw that photo in his mind. Saw her in that hotel room. Saw the necklace. Saw everything he had worked for, everything he had sacrificed, thrown away like it meant nothing. No, he said. Please, Travis. I don't have anyone. I lost my job. I lost my friends. I'm living in an apartment the size of a closet. I have nothing. You have what you chose. I loved you. I still love you. No, he said again. You love what I provided. The house. The stability. The safety. But you didn't love me. Because if you loved me, you never would have done what you did. That's not fair. Life's not fair, Mel. You taught me that. She was sobbing now. Full, heaving sobs that made it hard for her to speak. What am I supposed to do now? How am I supposed to start over? I don't know. Figure it out the same way I had to. Can I come back? Please? I'll do anything. I'll change. I'll be better. For a moment, Travis almost felt something. Almost felt the urge to say yes. To forgive. To try again. They had been married for 13 years. That had to count for something. All those years couldn't just disappear. But then he remembered her face when she said maybe your best isn't good enough. Remembered her walking out the door without kissing him goodbye. Remembered her lying to him about where she was going and who she was with. Remembered that she had chosen Derek. Had chosen the affair. Had chosen to destroy their marriage. And he realized something important. He didn't love her anymore. Maybe he had stopped loving her a long time ago and just hadn't admitted it. Or maybe the love had died the moment he saw that photo. Either way, it was gone. Dead. Nothing left but the memory of what used to be. No, Travis said. His voice was calm. Final. You can't come back. We're done. The divorce is final. Move on with your life. Travis. Goodbye, Melanie. He hung up, blocked her number, and he sat there in his living room in the house he had fought to keep, and he felt nothing. The next morning, Travis was cleaning out the garage when he found it. A receipt in an old jacket pocket. The receipt from the jeweler. The necklace he had planned to buy Melanie for her birthday. The surprise that never happened. He stared at it for a long time. Then he drove to the jewelry store. The same clerk was working. A young guy with slick back hair and a smile that was too bright for 9 in the morning. Can I help you? I had a necklace on hold, Travis said. Never picked it up. I'd like to return it. The clerk looked it up in the computer. We could do store credit. That's fine. Travis walked around the store, while the clerk processed the return. Display cases full of rings and watches and things that sparkled under the lights. Things that people bought to show love or celebrate milestones or prove something to themselves. He stopped at a case near the back. Fishing gear, high-end reels, and lures and equipment that serious anglers used. And there, on the bottom shelf, a boat motor. Brand new, still in a box. The exact model Travis had been looking at online for months. How much? He asked the clerk. That's $2,000 even. Top of the line. Travis smiled. First real smile he'd had in weeks. I'll take it. He loaded the motor into his truck. Drove straight to the storage unit where he kept his old aluminum fishing boat. The boat was nothing special. 20 years old. Dented. Paint peeling in places. But it was his. He had bought it used 10 years ago with money from a bonus check. Had taken out to Longview Lake every chance he got. Just him and the water and the fish and the quiet. It took him an hour to install the new motor. His hands knew what to do. Tightening bolts. Connecting wires. Making sure everything was secure. When he was done, he stepped back and looked at it. The motor gleamed silver in the afternoon sun. New and powerful and ready. He hooked the boat to his truck. Drove to Longview Lake. Launched it at the public ramp. The water was calm. Glassy. The sun was starting to set, painting everything gold and orange and red. Travis started the motor. It roared to life. Strong and smooth. He pushed the throttle forward and the boat cut through the water like a knife. Wind in his face. Spray in the air. The shore falling away behind him. He drove to the middle of the lake. Killed the motor. Let the boat drift. The silence was complete. No traffic sounds. No voices. No phones ringing. Just water lapping against the hull and birds calling in the distance. His phone buzzed. Travis almost didn't check it, but he pulled it out of his pocket. Another unknown number. Another text. Hope you saw what I posted. It was Rico, the maintenance guy, the ex-boyfriend, the one who had started all of this by sending that first photo. Travis stared at the message. He could respond, could thank him, could curse him, could say something, but he didn't. He just put the phone back in his pocket, cast his line into the water, and watched the sun sink below the trees. He didn't need to respond, didn't need to say anything to anyone. The whole world had seen what happened. The photos had spread everywhere. Melanie's reputation was destroyed. Derek's career was over. Their affair had cost them everything. And Travis? Travis had his house, had his job, had his boat, and his new motor and his life. He had lost a wife who didn't love him, but he had kept his dignity, his self-respect, his ability to look at himself in the mirror and know he had done the right thing. The fish weren't biting, but Travis didn't care. He sat there in his boat as the sky turned purple and the stars started coming out. The water was so still it looked like glass, like he could walk on it if he tried. Somewhere across town, Melanie was in her small apartment, alone, jobless, friendless, living with the consequences of her choices. Somewhere in Arizona, Derek was starting over, trying to rebuild a career that would never be what it was, trying to salvage a reputation that couldn't be saved. And somewhere in that hotel, Rico was probably finishing his shift, satisfied that he had gotten his revenge, that he had hurt the woman who had hurt him all those years ago. But Travis didn't think about any of them. He was done thinking about people who didn't matter anymore, done carrying anger and pain and betrayal around like weights. He reeled in his line, started the motor, headed back to shore. The boat motor purred underneath him. Strong, reliable, built to last, kind of like him. 6 months passed. Winter came to Blue Springs. Snow covered the yard. Ice formed on the sidewalks. Travis shoveled his driveway alone, hung Christmas lights alone, spent New Year's Eve alone with a beer and a football game on television. He didn't mind the alone part anymore. Had gotten used to it. The house was quiet, but it was his. The bills were paid. The mortgage was current. His credit was good. His life was stable. Work stayed the same. Loading trucks, managing the crew, dealing with delivery schedules and inventory counts. It wasn't exciting, but it was honest. He showed up, did his job, got his paycheck, went home. Some of the guys at the warehouse had heard about what happened. Small town. Everyone knew everyone. They didn't ask questions, didn't pry, just treated him normal, which was exactly what Travis needed. One Tuesday in February, Travis was eating lunch in his truck when he saw someone familiar across the parking lot. A woman loading groceries into a beat-up sedan. Thin, tired-looking, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, wearing a store uniform. It took him a second to recognize her. Melanie. She was working at the grocery store. Not as a manager, not in an office, as a cashier, maybe a stocker. One of those jobs people took when they needed money fast and couldn't afford to be picky. Travis watched her struggle with the bags, watched her drop one and have to pick up cans that rolled under the car, watched her finally get everything loaded and just stand there for a moment, leaning against the vehicle like she needed the support. She looked small, beaten down, nothing like the woman who used to walk into a room like she owned it. Nothing like the woman who had demanded $2,000 necklaces and complained about their boring life. Part of Travis felt satisfaction. This was justice. This was karma. She had thrown away their marriage for a man with expensive watches and a smooth voice. Now, she was working retail and driving a car that looked like it might not make it through the winter. But another part of him felt something else. Not pity exactly, not sympathy, just a kind of empty sadness. They had been married for 13 years, had shared a life, had made plans together, and now she was across a parking lot, loading groceries into a dying car, while he sat in his truck eating a sandwich alone. Nobody had won this. They had both just lost different things. Melanie got in her car, sat there for a moment, then drove away. She never saw him, never knew he was watching, just pulled out of the parking lot and disappeared down the street. Travis finished his lunch, threw the wrapper away, went back to work. That night, he sat in his garage with the door open, working on the boat. He was refinishing the seats, sanding down old wood, applying new varnish, making something old look new again. His phone rang. Glenn Bixler. Just want to check in, the lawyer said. Make sure you're doing okay. I'm fine. Good, good. Glenn paused. You know, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've seen hundreds of divorces, thousands of people going through the worst time of their lives. Most of them make bad decisions, get emotional, say things they regret, do things that make everything worse. Okay, you didn't do that. You stayed calm. You documented everything. You let the evidence speak for itself. You didn't try to get revenge. You just wanted out, and you got out. Glenn cleared his throat. I'm proud of you, Travis. Not many people handle things the way you did. Travis didn't know what to say to that. Thanks. You're going to be fine. You know that, right? You're going to move on and find someone better and build a good life. Because you're a good man. And good men don't stay down forever. After they hung up, Travis went back to sanding the boat's seat. His hands moved in steady, even strokes. Back and forth, smoothing out the rough spots, taking away the damage, making it whole again. Spring came eventually. The snow melted. Grass turned green. Trees budded and bloomed. Travis took the boat out every weekend. Sometimes he caught fish. Sometimes he didn't. Didn't matter. It was about being on the water, about the peace, about the silence that wasn't lonely anymore. One Saturday morning in April, he was loading gear into the boat when his neighbor walked over. Guy named Phil, mid-50s, worked in IT. They had lived next door to each other for 8 years and had maybe exchanged 50 words total. Nice motor, Phil said. Thanks. New. Got it a few months ago. Phil nodded, looked at the boat, looked at Travis. Listen, I know it's not my business, but I'm sorry about what happened with your wife. That was rough. Travis kept loading gear. It's fine. No, it's not. But you handled it with class. A lot of guys would have gone crazy. You just kept your head down and moved on. That takes strength. Travis looked at his neighbor. At this man he barely knew, but who had apparently been watching. Who had seen everything, but never judged. Never gossiped. Never taken sides. I appreciate that, Travis said. You going fishing? Yeah. Mind if I come along? Haven't been fishing in years. Wife got me doing yard work all weekend. Could use an escape. Travis almost said no. He liked fishing alone, liked the solitude. But something made him stop, made him think about what Glenn had said. Good men don't stay down forever. Sure, he said. Grab a rod if you have one. Phil's face lit up. Give me 5 minutes. They spent the day on the lake. Didn't talk much. Just fished. When they did talk, it was about normal things. Work, weather, sports, Phil told a few stories about his kids. Travis listened. It was easy, comfortable, like reconnecting with something he had forgotten he missed. They caught 3 bass and 2 crappie. Released them all. Phil helped clean up the boat when they got back to shore. "Thanks for letting me tag along," Phil said. "Anytime." And Travis meant it. That night, he sat on his back porch with a beer. The yard needed mowing. The fence needed a coat of paint. The gutters probably needed cleaning. All the little maintenance jobs that never ended when you owned a house. But the house was his. Every inch of it. Every repair. Every payment. Every decision. His. He thought about Melanie. Wondered where she was. What she was doing. Whether she was happy or sad or somewhere in between. Then he stopped wondering. Because it didn't matter anymore. She was part of his past. Not his present. Not his future. Just the past. Travis pulled out his phone. Opened his photos. Scrolled all the way back to pictures from years ago. Pictures of him and Melanie on vacation. At parties. At family gatherings. Smiling. Holding hands. Looking happy. He looked at those pictures for a long time. Then he deleted them. All of them. Every single image. Years of memories gone with a few taps of his thumb. It didn't hurt. It just felt necessary. Like cleaning out a closet. Like making room for something new. He finished his beer. Went inside. Locked the door. And he slept better than he had in months. Because he was done carrying the weight. Done living in the shadow of betrayal. Done letting her choices define his life. Travis Harlan was 41 years old. He had survived his wife's affair. Survived a divorce. Survived the worst year of his life. And he had come out the other side, still standing. Still sane. Still himself. He had never forgiven her. Not in court. Not in memory. Not ever. Some things couldn't be forgiven. Some betrayals were too deep. Some wounds didn't heal. They just scarred over and became part of you. But forgiveness wasn't the point. Moving on was the point. Building a new life was the point. Finding peace was the point. And on a quiet spring night in Blue Springs, Missouri, with his house paid for and his boat waiting in the garage and his life stretched out in front of him like an open road, Travis finally found it. Peace.